Had it really been so long since we found out that Sarah was expecting? So much has happened in so short a time, I lost track. The gestation period of bears and mountain lions differs slightly, but Sarah said she felt certain she was coming due. Who am I to argue with her? On the recommendation of the obstetrician Sarah was seeing, we decided to go to a hospital that specializes in childbirth. Our situation was quite unique. There is no record of a child of a bear and a mountain lion. Both Sarah and I had given DNA samples as well as amniotic fluid to see if anyone could figure out how this happened. So far, no conclusions. They can't even tell us the cub's sex. The closest hospital recommended happened to be in Louisville, Kentucky, about a 3-hour drive. We packed enough things for a week's stay, figuring that if it was longer, we could find a laundry. We had made reservations at a hotel only a couple of blocks from the hospital. We got checked in, then went to the hospital to let them know we were there. They gave Sarah a thorough examination and said the same thing the obstetrician in Huntington had said. Any day now. So Sarah and I walked back to the hotel, had dinner at the restaurant in the lobby, prepared a bag of items to bring to the hospital when the time came, then got settled in our room and turned on the TV. We had only been watching for an hour or so when Sarah got an odd look on her face and got up to go to the bathroom. Are you all right, Sarah?
I'll be fine, Star. Just a bit of indigestion, I think.
She only closed the door partially, as we had been instructed in the classes we took, just in case. Good thing, too.
Star!
I was at the bathroom door in seconds. Sarah was sitting on the toilet.
My water broke. I'm sure of it.
I'll get the bag. You stay right there. Then I'll help you to the car.
No, Star. I want to walk there. It will help, really.
Sarah knew what her body needed more than I. I helped her change into a bathrobe she asked for. Who knows why? I don't. I just wanted to give her whatever she asked for. She then insisted on cleaning the bathroom before we left. The walk took a bit longer than normal as Sarah went through several contractions on the way. I held her up when those occurred. The hospital was waiting for us when we arrived, helped us to the delivery area, and changed her into a hospital gown. I looked at the clock. It was nearly 11 p.m. by the time we got there. It was going to be a long night, but there was no way I was leaving her side. The staff insisted I go get meals because they said my strength was going to be needed. I ignored their advice. I'd simply find the strength when needed. All through the next morning, Sarah went through contraction after contraction, each a bit more intense than the one before. They became very intense in the afternoon. I could tell from the look on her face, but she never cried out in pain. I have heard how strong women can be, but I never knew just how true that was until about 4 o'clock.
Star, give me your hand, please.
I took her hand in mine just before the next contraction. She squeezed it so hard I felt my knuckles crack. My reflexes said pull away, but I forced myself to endure the pain, knowing that hers had to be many times worse. She finally relaxed as the contraction eased. I adjusted my hand in hers to ease the pain and prepared for the next one. A nurse came in to check. She said the cub was crowning. They wheeled the bed into the delivery area and asked Sarah if she needed anything for the pain. She shook her head vehemently just as the next contraction hit. For the first time, I heard Sarah cry out in pain, and that was followed almost immediately by...
It's a girl.
The doctor held her up. I had to wipe my eyes to see. She appeared to be almost a bear cub, but the tail and ears said mountain lion. A nurse handed me what looked like a bent pair of scissors.
What'd you like to do to the honors?
Huh? Oh, right. I glanced up at the clock right before I cut the umbilical cord. It said 5:08.
Do you have a name picked out?
Sarah and I had discussed it many times and had decided on 2 names. One if it was a boy, one if it was a girl. Corona. Her name is Corona.
And have you decided on a middle name?
Oh, right. Sapphire.
Corona Sapphire Borealis. Good name. Well, Corona, welcome to the world.
The doctor clipped the cord and trimmed it, then wrapped her in a towel before handing her to me. I looked down into her face. She was squirming a bit, but was clearly settling down. You have no idea what happens to you when you hold your first child in your arms. I was scared to death. I knew what a responsibility it was to raise a child, but it never really hits home until you hold your own newborn in your arms. As I looked at her, she opened her eyes and looked back and...
Do you want to let the mother hold her?
Huh? Oh, right. I placed Corona on Sarah's chest. Sarah wrapped her arms around the cub. You could tell she was crying. She gave the cub a kiss, then looked up at me.
Thank you, Star.
I started trembling.
Are you alright, Mr. Borealis?
Yes, I'll be fine.
Why don't you go back to the hotel and sleep? Sarah and Corona will be just fine.
I will in a moment. The nurse guided me to a chair by the nursery. I got to see them bring Corona in. They gave me the room number where Sarah was. I went to check on her. She was sound asleep. Good thing, too, after what she just went through. So I went back to the nursery and stared. Finally, my stomach growled. I didn't want to leave, but I knew it was for the best. About halfway between the hospital and the hotel was a coffee shop. I stopped in there for a cup of coffee and a sandwich. I wasn't hungry, but it had been nearly a day since I had eaten. As I sat there and ate and looked out the window, I was trying to understand what it was I was feeling. The world looked so different now. Then I remembered something that happened a long time ago. It was shortly before I left Huntington to help my mother out at the Alberta estate. I had set up my reflecting telescope in order to view an occultation of Venus when Dipper, who was about 5 at the time, came outside.
What you doing?
I'm looking at the stars, Dipper.
Why?
Because the stars are beautiful to look at.
Oh. Can you see God up there, Uncle Star?
Well, God doesn't live in the sky, but if you think about it, you can learn a lot about the Creator by looking at the things He creates. So, yes, I can. Yes, seeing God in the heavens was one of the reasons why I was so fascinated by astronomy. But when I looked in my daughter's eyes, and she looked back, I learned more about the Creator in that moment than I had ever known. The world looks so much different now, and I finally knew why. Just walked down the street to the coffee shop. I had to take a break. I've been by her side for 18 hours straight. Saw a flower growing in the middle of the sidewalk, pushing up through the concrete, like it was planted right there for me to see. The flashing lights, the honking horns all seemed to fade away in the shadow of that hospital at 508. I saw God today. I've been to church, I've read the book, I know He's here, but I don't look near as often as I should. Yes, I know I should. His fingerprints are everywhere, I just slow down to stop and stare. Opened my eyes and man, I swear I saw God today. Saw a couple walking by, they were holding hands. Man, she had that glow, and I couldn't help but notice she was starting to show. Stood there for a minute, taking in the sky, lost in that sunset. A splash of amber melted into shades of red. I've been to church, I've read the book, I know he's here, but I don't look near as often as I should. Yes, I know I should. His fingerprints are everywhere, I just slow down to stop and stare. Open my eyes and man, I swear I saw God today. Got my face pressed up against the nursery glass. She's sleeping like a rock. My name on her wrist, wearing tiny pink socks. She's got my nose. She's got her mama's eyes. My brand new baby girl. She's a miracle. I saw